Hello everybody and welcome to the very official anime awards for the year of 2024. I am Mike from Bonsai Pop. This is Bonsai Pop, and we're going to be talking about some good shows. And also some bad shows. Yes, another year of anime has come and gone. We've witnessed the best, we've witnessed the worst, and we've witnessed some firsts. But it's always good to take some time to look back at the last 365 days of anime and reflect on what we've experienced. So today we're going to go over my list of the best and worst anime of 2024, and of course, like always on this channel, I like to do things my way, which means that some of these aren't going to be from 2024, some of these might not be from like the last 20 years, but there are some anime that I watched this year that I absolutely think you should see, so I'm going to be adding those in here. And again, remember, this is my list, this is the anime that I watched this year, so if your favorite anime is not on this list, or I'm not talking about one that you really liked, it's probably because I didn't see it, and it doesn't mean that it's bad or that you're wrong or dumb. You can prove that in plenty of other different ways. So sit back, relax, reflect, and let's pop off. Alright everybody, it's time to get real for a second. Did you know that last year, half of Americans went into debt just to cover holiday costs? I know I can relate, and I'm sure all of you can too. Life can be really difficult and throw you incredibly unexpected curveballs, especially with the way that society is built at this moment. For instance, this month our channel got hacked, which means that our revenue got messed up, and we're going to be paying for that for a while. Tyler's partner has been out of work for over half of the year because of serious medical issues, which of course comes with serious medical debt. Sometimes you can prepare as much as you possibly can, you can do everything right, and you can still end up in the wrong situation. Worst case scenario. Thankfully, I got a solution for you. It's called PDS debt. Now, nobody likes to talk about debt, especially me. I hate money, but what makes these guys different is that they take the time to learn about your specific situation. Whether you're dealing with credit card debt, personal loans, medical debt, anything, they make a plan that is personalized and specific for you. Here's what really matters. If you have more than $10,000 of eligible debt, you can qualify regardless of your credit score. They accept bad and fair credit, and their solutions can help you pay off your debts and save money way faster than you could have expected. So yeah, this isn't fun, but it is important, and the new year is coming up. You want to start it off on the right foot. PDS Debt strives to understand where you're coming from and offer solutions to help you get to being debt-free. So if you're making monthly payments and your balance isn't going down, there is another way. If I'm talking about you, start planning today. Get a free debt analysis right now at pdsdebt.com/bonsaipop. It literally only takes 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt.com/bonsaipop. pdsdebt.com/bonsaipop for a new and a better year in 2025. Now let's get to the show. Alright, so we are going to start off with some really solid, stanky trash. Ever wonder what happens when an already edgy edgelord gets reincarnated as a goblin and then eats and screws his way into becoming a super monster trying to build a modern polygamous society? No? Why not? What's wrong with you? Clearly a plot only possible from the mind of a light novelist, Remonster is not a show for everyone, might not even be a show for anyone. But it is a show, and I watched all of it. I don't know what that says about me, but I'm sure I'll hear about it in the comments. Think of this series as reincarnated as a slime with bad writing and a boner. I don't know how much more succinct I can get. A series for gooners trying to kill time and a few brain cells. Only Remonster could have 3/4 of its wiki dedicated to the main character's paramours, and yes, none of them are given actual names. A delicate bouquet of sad and horny. Remonster gets the 2024 award for being there. It certainly was there. So stepping out of the goon puddle, I would like to talk about a good anime that came out this year, Solo Leveling. Ever seen an anime about a weak and meek boy becoming an uber chad? Oh, you have? Well, this one does that good. Solo Leveling revolves around said beta male living in a world where dungeons randomly appeared IRL and people got RPG powers. Unfortunately, Truck-Kun's level is really low and he's useless. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Until his party finds the world's most metal secret boss and get dismantled piece by piece in front of Truck-Kun's eyes. Seriously, episode 1 is awesome. It got me locked into the series right away. So after this incredibly traumatizing ordeal, he becomes endowed with a very typical, very video game-esque system in his brain or something, which eventually makes him very OP, but he does have to work for it. That is saying something. It also makes him a little bit maybe insane, maybe a lot of bit. Unlike a lot of similar series, Solo Leveling takes the violence and mayhem to another another level, which is why I liked it, but also the world and mysteries therein are compelling enough to keep you watching if insane action and dismemberment aren't for you. A true lesson in take this but make it edgier please, Solo Leveling gets the 2024 award for Korean Anime of the Year. It is certainly Korean. Also, I bought and read all the light novels, so I liked it. Now I should probably talk to you about a show that isn't even remotely trash, and I guess I'm gonna have to go with Frieren. You want to talk about a show that I didn't want to watch, but I did because literally every day someone was like, you personally need to see this anime or your life won't be complete. And then after I watched it, we made a video on it because it was just that damn good. Frieren revolves around a very, very old elf, despite her youthful appearance, who has become completely detached from the world and her human connections, at least from the outside. Time to her doesn't work the same as it does for us humans. 50 years is nothing to Frieren, so when she pops back into town to see her old friends who she saved the world with, they're basically ready to die. This brings into question exactly what their time together and the relationships that they had meant, and how the finality of death will inevitably affect Frieren even if she won't be facing her own for maybe thousands of years to come. During the anime, she finds herself on another adventure with new companions, which becomes a journey of self-discovery and realization. Action-packed, incredibly deep, and heartfelt, Frieren gets the 2024 award for Most Beautiful Anime. Again, I liked it so much I read the entire manga. I cannot recommend Frieren enough. Go check it out. Moving on, did you know that Shin Megami Tensei has OVAs? Yes, the novel turned video game series that has basically taken over the RPG world with its spin-off of a spin-off Persona was getting OVAs in the 80s. Now, I've never actually played Shin Megami Tensei, but Persona is my jam. 3, 4, and 5 are some of my favorite games that I've ever experienced. But you don't need to know anything about either series to enjoy these absolutely insane animations. Digital Devil Story, Megami Tensei, and Megami Tensei Revelations are absolute must-see classics. We're talking beyond unhinged, trippy, violent, extremely inappropriate. Megami Tensei has everything a classic OVA needs. Also, the sequel has a very early Steve Blum appearance. These were so good and so wild, we featured the first in our 1000 Ways to Die in Anime video because it's kind of hard to beat a fur burger being forcibly removed by the way of biting it off. The Megami Tensei OVAs get the 2024 award for Just When I Thought I Saw Everything, Here's Megami Tensei. It shouldn't be too hard to find, and I absolutely recommend watching them whether you're a fan of the series or not. But now we have to talk about Ranma half. Longtime viewers know that my undying love for mangaka Rumiko Takahashi burns with the passion of 1,000 suns. Inuyasha, Ranma, Mermaid Saga, Maizani Koku, Mao, I'll read anything she writes. Now, I think occasionally a remake is worth doing. I don't think it was a bad idea per se to redo Urusei Yatsura. That is an anime that showed its age and a lot of young people just weren't exposed to it. Ranma though? Ranma is a classic that easily stands the test of time. The animation is great, it's funny, the voice acting is perfect. There was absolutely no need to remake it, and especially no need to do it on Netflix. And the way in which it was done was very disappointing. Between the censorship and the new age art direction, I really cannot recommend this remake to anyone. Please watch the original and then watch our video on Ranma. The Ranma half remake gets the 2024 award for incredible waste of money. Okay, so this might go without saying, but Dandadan is up for Anime of the Year. And it goes without saying because I just said it on a video we did about the show because it was just that good. A hyperactive mess of insanity and legitimate heartfelt emotion, Dandadan answers the question of, are we ever gonna get an old school style anime again? It answered yes. If you're as big a fan of classic anime as myself, if you value the unhinged, unrestricted beauty of the Japanese mind, Dandadan is the one for you. Ghosts, aliens, references out the wazoo from Ultraman to yokai, Dandadan has it all and more. Insanity, love, profanity, and lost. It is a must-see. Dandadan gets the 2024 award for please more of this. If you want more information, go check out our video on it. Oh man, what's that? Oh, that smells like sticky trash. Oh, I know that particular smell though. That's gushing over magical girls. Yeah, I remember watching this. Whoops. Yes, an anime I could only discuss in passing like this. Gushing over magical girls, it's not something that I could recommend to most people. No, scratch that, I'm embarrassed just talking about it. Here is a series that opens some new doors and maybe opens some of them a little too wide. Imagine if a female protagonist loved magical girls, maybe way too much, and has major issues with cute aggression, and then becomes a magical girl villain so she can enact that cute aggression in extremely inappropriate ways. I mean, that could be a show. Just make sure you don't go too far. Oh, uh-oh, you went too far, didn't you? I don't think we can call this kink empowerment anymore. Maybe some people should just be shamed. Look, Gushing Over Magical Girls is one of those shows that will eventually make you feel bad if you keep watching it, like you did something wrong, because you kind of did. It gets our 2024 award for Don't Tell Your Friends, Don't Tell Your Mom. And if you do watch it on High Dive, don't tell anybody. Ever. So after that, I think we need a palate cleanser, which means it's time to discuss the very wholesome Chained Soldier. I'm gonna be honest, I had a little trouble putting my feelings about this one into words, so I'd like to thank friend and patron Sammy for helping me out with this one. But I do think Chained Soldier will make everybody feel better after Gushing Over Magical Girls. Another High Dive exclusive, meaning it is quality, of course. Chained Soldier is a lesson in hard lessons. In a world where all men are just a whole bunch of regular Joes or Joettes, we're not going to discriminate, and all women are granted incredibly unique powers upon reaching their late teens by a crazy magical peach in order to help combat against a hostile parallel dimension of shadowy monsters and demon girls. One man got Subaru'd randomly into this dimension only to discover that one of the girls who came to save him has the power to make him her slave, and make him her slave she does. But don't think of it as like chattel slavery, think of it as like Mr. Slave. And then on top of it, he gets to become a crazy powerful demon dog dude, and then be rewarded for being such a good boy by being treated like a bad boy in every episode. Makes you wonder what this show is really about. And I'm gonna be real, I didn't like this one that much, but it was the punishment I deserved. Chained Soldier gets the 2024 award for not what you wanted, but what you were asking for. Okay, so last in the theme of punishment, I accidentally watched A Kite Uncut again this year. It had been a really long time. I'd remembered that it was messed up, but I hadn't remembered why. Now I do, and I also now know why I didn't remember. Sometimes you just gotta block shit out. Thankfully, I didn't show the movie in public. Wait, yes I did. A Kite Uncut gets the 2024 award for I'm still very sorry to my patrons. If you're going to watch A Kite, and I can't believe I'm saying this, watch the censored version. It's actually much better, less traumatizing, and you don't miss anything except trauma. Seriously, no memes here. But you know what I did love this year was Konosuba Season 3. Konosuba was and still remains one of my favorite anime of all time. If I'm having a bad go of things, I'll throw it on and watch it through again for like the 25th time. And now there's more of it. And that's really what this season was. More of what you wanted. Kazuma's selfishness and underhanded personality shines through brilliantly in this season, and we get to add an even darker personality flaw to his vast repertoire with the introduction of Princess Chan. The only downside was there isn't more. Let's get a 24 episode season of Konosuba. Let's add in arcs that aren't even in the light novels. I don't care. The world needs more of these four degenerates. Konosuba Season 3 gets the 2024 award for having darkness. Enough said. I feel like we're stuck in another theme here, but we got another degenerate to talk about with Mushoku Tensei Season 2. Jobless reincarnation isn't even what I would call a guilty pleasure at this point, mostly because I don't feel guilty about it. It also technically beat Dandadan to the punch when it comes to being a series about helping a man raise his collapsed tent. Well, I guess Mushoku Tensei isn't all about that, just a really good portion of Season 2. A season which I was a little nervous about. I've read the whole series and I knew this was one of the slower parts, and let's be real, nothing is more mopey than a man who lost his literal mojo. But the pacing was good while maintaining the best parts of this arc, and worst parts, because it's Mushoku Tensei and 90% of it is Rudy being inexhaustibly horny, and also like 45 on the inside. I don't know, it's weird. And this season got really weird. Is it as good as the first season? Hell no, but it is an excellent addition to it. Can I recommend it to you? I don't know, because Mushoku Tensei Season 2 gets the 2024 award for definitely not for everybody, but pretty damn good. Now, this year I watched a little show called Tokyo Revengers, and holy shit, It was so good. Another show that people were absolutely riding me to watch when it was coming out, and they were right to do so. What happens when a washed up ex-punk goes back in time to save the life of his middle school girlfriend? A lot of shit. That's what happens. It's hard to even describe this one and do it justice. It's like a part mob thriller, part Back to the Future, part Butterfly Effect with a Japanese biker punk flavor. Tokyo Revengers had me on the edge of my seat until the season ended. And then I read the entire manga. This is grade A material, and it gets the 2024 award for I should have watched it when it actually came out and then immediately done a video on it. What was I thinking? It's got everything. It's got action, it's got drama, it's got character development, it's got great relationships. It's literally a show full of Yusuke's and Kuwabaras. If you haven't yet, go check out Tokyo Revengers right now. And if I get enough comments about it, maybe I'll make a video next year. And speaking of things that are really, really good that are getting 2024 awards but didn't come out in 2024, ever hear of a little OVA called California Crisis? Because holy shit, you want to take the entire Japanese 80s city pop vibe and put it into a completely nonsensical road trip across the American West with an alien artifact? You got it. California Crisis is 100% vibes, but filtered into an animation that is so dripping with nostalgia it actually hurts. Is it good? I mean, does that matter? I loved it. It's beautiful. The soundtrack rips. Everything about it is a perfect time capsule from beginning to end. It's incredibly unique and actually engaging. It of course runs into certain 80s OVA issues, but not until the end. But that of course is completely and absolutely wiped away by the look of this, by the complete feel of California Crisis. And of course it gets the 2024 award for literally as 80s as something can possibly get. Go check out California Crisis and thank me later. Or thank me now. Now here's a 2024 surprise, an isekai with a relatively unique plot. No Longer Allowed in Another World is pretty wild. This one stars a writer who isekai'd himself on accident on purpose. Yes, you heard me right. He and his love decided the world was far too cruel and tried to take the first Truck-Kun out. Unfortunately, for at least Protag-san, he ended up in another world he doesn't care about at all. You know, not that he cared about his first one, obviously, but that's until he realizes lover-chan might have also gotten isekai'd. Still, he can't help himself from trying to take the first trip to Enma, whether it's smoking, taking pills constantly, or just starving himself. Of course, he's got his inexplicable friends who are going to make him save the world no matter what, even if he himself doesn't want to do anything at all, or even go on living. No Longer Allowed in Another World is a great new comedic slant to a very tired genre and gets the 2024 award for most likable protagonist with an actual literal death wish. Okay, so here's one that I need to talk about or people are going to riot. Delicious in Dungeon. If you haven't figured it out by now, I tend to enjoy anime a bit on the wilder side. Why? Well, I mean, besides that just fitting with my general chaotic nature, I know if I watch something a bit slower, I'm going to have to really think about it, you know what I mean? I spend a lot of time thinking. It's been my job to analyze things for almost a decade now, and eventually that becomes something you just can't turn off. So you drown it out with noise like Megami Tensei. Delicious in Dungeon though, this is a different kind of noise. A nice, calming noise. Here's a series that takes something like dungeon exploration, normally an action-packed or thrilling experience, and turns it into lo-fi beats to study to, while also maintaining a bit of mortal peril. D&D is really about the experience of food and eating, using the world around you as resources to sustain yourself and enjoy it while you do. No matter how wild a day you're having, eventually you gotta eat. So why not enjoy it with some friends and make the most out of it, right? There's been many nights this year I fell asleep just enjoying the chilled out nature of Delicious in Dungeon. The characters are likable, the action is pretty good. It gets the 2024 award for making me actually enjoy a show about food without people's clothes getting blown off. Moving on, if you watch a ton of 80s OVAs like we do over in the Bonsai Pop Patreon, you're probably aware that most of them have a few things in common. For instance, plots that are either unintelligible or go from making sense to becoming completely unintelligible again and ending out of nowhere with absolutely no resolution. Now, I love that kind of stuff, but I can't exactly call it master filmmaking. So when we turned on Black Magic M66, I assumed we were in for a unique but relatively predictable ride. What I found? A 1987 OVA that was simply good. Like, most of them are good, but this one was good and competent. It revolves around an intrepid journalist and her sidekick named Leaky doing everything they can to get the scoop on some government battle androids that were lost and then self-activated. Of course, chaos, death, and destruction ensue and glorious hand-drawn 4x3 goodness, but I'd love that no matter what. What really stands out, again, is the competency. Blackmagic M66 is a complete package. It looks good, it sounds good, and was actually written really well. I came out of it perfectly pleased and content, not confused, and thoroughly entertained. I highly recommend you check it out, and Blackmagic M66 gets the 2024 award for Beautiful Diamond in the Beautiful Rough. You know what wasn't beautiful though? Big Wars. You ever see Dune? No, not the Timothy Chalamet one, the real Dune, David Lynch's Dune. Now that's sci-fi. Sci-fi is supposed to hurt. It's supposed to be so self-indulgent and serious that it flips between breaking your brain and putting you to sleep. You need to suffer to appreciate sci-fi. Meet Big Wars. Big Wars gets it. I don't even know what this film is about, but I watched it and I made everybody else watch it too. And now some of you are gonna watch it. Slow, confusing, stilted, and weird as hell, Big Wars is peak old school sci-fi that in the last 30 minutes turns into a wild mess that you'd expect from an 80s anime film. Except it was made in the early 90s. Doesn't look like it though, doesn't sound like it either. If you're ready for this difficult ride, absolutely watch the dub, it's pretty great. Space military, Mars colonization, and evil aliens, Big Wars gets the 2024 award for keeping sci-fi inaccessible. Oh, this is interesting. Up next is 2024's exact same premise for an anime, except this one was better award. Our contestants are I Parry Everything and the Osan newbie adventurer trained to death by the most powerful party became invincible. Who could have possibly guessed that both of these were originally light novels? So the story goes, guy with no talent is rejected from being an adventurer, then as an adult becomes an adventurer, but unbeknownst to themselves, they're insanely OP. Now, which show am I talking about? Literally both of them. Here's the difference though, one of them is good. Which one is it? I know one has a better title, that's for damn sure, but believe it or not, the winner is the show with the title so long, it needed two, count them, 2 commas. Osan Newbie is actually a lot of fun. I mean, the concept of someone basically being One Punch Man but not even realizing it is kind of funny. I Parry Everything is basically exactly the same, except he parries everything, like who cares? Of course, both shows take place in different settings and more importantly have different casts of supporting characters, but the main characters are basically the same. It's just, again, like one's just like better than the other one. The fish out of water comedy of the relatively normal guy who just has these like insane powers and, you know, Mr. Beaning his way through things without understanding that he's really tough and the people he's fighting are incredibly tough, but they seem weak or are pretending to go easy on him. It's a good premise. Sets up a lot of comedy. But in this case, Osan Newbie just wins out. It's funnier, it's got a more interesting story, and the rest of the characters are a lot better than I Parry Everything. It's just all around a more likable, more entertaining, and easier to watch show. So if you're looking to cook some brain cells while falling asleep, I highly recommend the Osan Newbie Adventurer with the team becomes strongest guy. And last but not least, speaking of fried brainiums, we gotta talk about Goku Midnight Eye. Ever wonder what would happen if you took Blade Runner, mixed it with Journey to the West, and cranked the 80s aesthetic up to 11? Goku Midnight Eye is the only acceptable answer. This 2-episode OVA follows our boy Goku, private detective who gets his eyeball replaced with basically the world's most cracked out smartphone. Seriously, this cyber eye lets him hack any electronic device, which in Cyberpunk Future Tokyo is basically everything. Oh, and because that wasn't enough, he also gets a magic extending rod, like the power pole, because why not? Listen, when you're making an OVA in 1989, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't owe anybody shit. Between the gratuitous violence, questionable fashion choices, and that absolutely banging synthwave soundtrack, Goku Midnight Eye is peak and gets our 2024 award for if you can dream it, you can do it, and because it was the 80s, you also get paid. Anyway, that's gonna be it for the 2024 Anime Awards. There she is. Thanks so much for watching. If you like our shorter content like this, we're gonna have a lot more of it next year while I'm working on these big projects like the Yu-Gi-Oh video we have coming up. Thank you guys again for another year of Bonsai Pop. It has been a wild one. We got our channel hacked and hijacked, and it was a lot of craziness, but we made it through thanks to you, and especially our patrons, and of course our sponsorships that help pay our editors. I can't wait to see you next year. We're gonna have videos in January in 2025, so that's going to be exciting for everybody. My name is Mike. This is Bonsai Pop. You've been the viewer, and I will catch you on the next episode. Goodbye.